I am actually not sure if I'm live. Yes, I am. Okay. OBS does this little thing where when I go to change the scene to go live, it tells me that I'm offline. Like it's fine until that moment, and then I'm like, haha, no, you don't. You're not streaming right now. All right, I need to check um how do I sound? Do I sound good? Is the volume okay? Um, that's pretty much the only question. Also, hello everyone. And we started off with a really important message there in chat. Mike needs a bit of noise cancelling. We're supposed to have some. What the fuck? Isn't it? More CPU usage, and it's still shit. Is it picking up my fans by any chance? Hold on, let me get some headphones and listen to this on my laptop. I do see it picking up literally everything. Oh, did I maybe just like... It might be the sensitivity. It's your fault? Yeah, might as well just listen to what it sounds like. Oh, did I maybe just like... Amazing. It might be the sensitivity. So Macs do this really amazing thing where if you connect headphones to them... oh wait, they're not fully connected. Okay. They still do this thing where if you don't connect... Alright, I need to listen. Okay. It picks up more background noise than the other one did, but I guess that's fine. I'll have to adjust it. Yeah, so they do this thing where if you connect headphones, they don't automatically switch the output to the headphones. Not always, anyway, so it's really weird. Okay. Well, we have a new microphone going on. And a new like audio interface, is that what they're called? I've had it for a while. I just wasn't using it. I tried using it on when I was streaming on Mac, and OBS did this really weird thing where the CPU usage went to like 50%. Never went down, no matter what I did. Which tanked my FPS to about 20 on the stream. Tiny issue with that. Changing the audio interface back to the old one did not fix it. And yesterday, when I was installing this new microphone, I was like, yeah, you know what? Let me use the other audio interface that I have, because might as well. It's better than the one I was using before. And I had the same thing happen on Linux. It's a memory leak so bad that even after you restart the program, restart your computer, get rid of the peripheral that caused it, reset everything back to exactly how it was before the memory leak or the, I don't know, compute leak? What do you call it when it just makes your CPU go crazy? Well, whatever is happening, it doesn't go away. The only solution is to kind of reconfigure OBS from the beginning. So set up your scenes, your microphone, camera, um, from the beginning, which I had to do yesterday. So let me know if there's anything weird, because on top of getting a new microphone and a new audio interface, I also had to reset all my settings. I have to say, I've never heard of a memory leak or whatever the fuck you call it that's so pervasive and so bad that it doesn't go away after you get rid of the thing that caused it, restart the program, restart your computer multiple times. How does that happen? I've never heard of this. Actually, you know what? Since my stream officially starts 30 minutes from now, um, but I kind of want to see if the CPU thing happens again, because if it does, I want to catch it as early as possible, and not once I actually start doing stuff. So is OBS on GitHub? Yes. Do they have any open issues about CPU usage? Let's say CPU usage and then audio interface. Heavy audio crackling, big latency, application audio capture captures all device output, audio monitoring device doesn't persist, audio monitoring buffer buildup off sync. Doesn't look like any of that. What about just audio? Mic stutter. GUI burns most of a CPU core, repeatedly decoding icons. That's not it. Audio lag, no. Okay, it doesn't look like I'm seeing any issues similar to what I was having. Again, both on Linux and Mac. I thought it was just OBS Mac. I thought very few people use that, so they probably don't have it super well maintained. And to be fair, that's also probably the case for OBS Linux, but there's gotta be more Linux users than Mac users, so I don't know. Or maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, cool little bug where the only solution is to to reinstall OBS or reconfigure it from source, otherwise it becomes unusable. So I'm just gonna keep an eye on my CPU usage and hope that it's okay. I'm also just going to have to manually reconfigure my entire thing. And maybe make the chat a little bigger. Alright, there we go. Do I have anything else to do? I think we're good. Okay, yes, we should be good. Alright, so I'm gonna say this now, and I'm also gonna say it 30 minutes from now when the stream officially starts. But these are the things that I kind of want to work on short term, and I want to run a poll to see what we should work on. Usually I would run a poll and just the thing that came up as the winner would be what we worked on for until it was done, essentially. And then I would run another poll. But kind of what I want to do is I need to work on all these things at some point or another. So based on the results of the poll, I'm just going to do them in that order and not so much. But I am going to do them all, essentially. Once I'm done with the first one, I'm going to move on to the second one and whatnot. Yeah, I'm not... well, maybe I'm starting the poll now, but I'm not gonna close it until after I officially start the stream, because, like I said, I need to make sure that my setup is fine, and you're probably hearing Jester's food. Because, yeah, hold on, let me shut up for a second. Yeah, it picks that up. Okay, great. Well, Jester is enjoying a succulent Chinese meal. Yeah, essentially, I just need to work on all these things, and I just want to see, like, people's interest on that. But I'm gonna wait until there's more people to close the poll, but I think I'm gonna start it now. So just to go over the things, don't actually mention Chinese food, because I've been wanting some for a while and haven't gotten any. So let's not talk about that. Okay, the thing that I'm probably going to work on today, okay, so I do reserve the right to override the results of the poll a little bit. Because today, most likely, I want to work on a 3D on my 3D renderer, on rasterizing. So the 3D renderer right now can render wireframes, so it can render the sides of triangles, but it needs to render the area of the triangle, it needs to do shading and all that stuff. That's called rasterization, and I need to make it handle that. That's always been the plan for what I was going to do today. So that is probably going to be the thing that I work on today. But even then, I'm going to put it in a poll. Next up is, for the operating system project, dynamic file system. So I mentioned how, for example, I would want to have my fake GPU, so the software renderer, and some networked processes, because I want my operating system to be distributed, to run as their own standalone processes, and then you communicate with them through the file system. In order to do that, I need to allow processes to expand the file system. I technically already did this when I did the windowing system, but then I found out it wasn't the best way to do it. But I'm probably going to need it at some point or another. So allowing processes to expand what the file system looks like, the virtual file system obviously, is kind of what I want to do. Probably gonna do it again for the renderer, so you can talk to it like you would with a GPU. Also gonna need it for the distributed file system stuff that I've been mentioning. Technically, it can already be done by kernel level processes, but I don't have an API for user-land processes to do it. And also, that doesn't get cleaned up when the process closes, so it's kind of important to do that. Then we have, okay, so HTML parsing. So I was thinking, besides just parsing HTML, kind of turning it into a more generalized type of thing. I do have a parser, technically. And, hey Arctic. Rendering HTML is just rendering, visually to the screen. But for example, this thing that I have now is a very loosely defined document list format for my tasks, which you could also just render. So ideally separate the parsing from the rendering, and then be able to render HTML, be able to render like maybe SVG files, also be able to read XML documents and whatnot. So just working on that for a bit, reinventing the web, essentially. Just that simple. I'm gonna skip this one for a second and move to this one. For my compiler, working on a better type system for the compiler. So I was thinking about how to do this. And the thing is that the compiler right now relies on function names, it relies on structure names that are defined in C, but it doesn't actually have access to that code. It doesn't know what the fuck to do. It doesn't know whether they exist. It doesn't know what types they are. And the main issue that I noticed with that is that it doesn't know whether something is a reference point, a reference or a value type. So a reference is a pointer, and a value is just like a struct. So if I do int a equals 0, and then I call a function passing a as an argument, and that function modifies the argument. When this is a value type, it doesn't get modified. Outside of here, a stays as 0. Well, hold on, I made it 0 in both cases. That's stupid. Yeah, this a stays at 0, whereas this one changed, because it's passed by value, it's essentially copied. Whereas instead, if I pass it as a pointer, which I would have to do with this syntax in C, then it gets modified. So this one changes its value. My language right now does not know the difference between these two things, doesn't know what a pointer is. In some cases, I've been able to just hard-code it because it's always the same behavior, but I need to make it better than that. So I was thinking of working on the type system a little bit for my compiler. And the one that I skipped is for my hacking game. I've barely worked on the hacking game since I started it. Because it's a process that I mostly just want to do by myself. I've also felt a little bit stuck on how I wanted to do this game. I kind of decided that computers in the hacking game, which are kind of an important element of a hacking game, kind of mirror the Unix and also redacted OS philosophy of everything is a file. But because my game engine uses entity component system, then everything is an entity. Which means that computer files and all that stuff actually like exists within the world. But then when it came to like actually interacting with them, I didn't have a very good system for doing that. So yesterday I started designing a system for that, and I was figured maybe we can work on an interaction system. If everything is an entity, same as the player is an entity, the computer itself is an entity, but then also, I don't know, a database on the computer is also an entity, then the player can interact with each of these entities like you would in a game by clicking and you get a little menu, or by pressing E or F or whatever, those kinds of interactions. The thing is, my engine doesn't have a system for that, so I would have to create one. But I'm not seeing this one winning in the polls, to be completely honest, because it's just engine development. But hey, I don't know, maybe I am wrong. Anyway, like I said, I'm gonna run a poll on this. You can vote. Most likely, I'm still gonna do Rasterization regardless of what wins, but I'm gonna put it there. Democracy. It's just a kind of democracy where I may just ignore the result. It's democracy with a little bit of dictatorship. It's my stream, not yours, essentially. So I may still do this, and I said I was gonna work on the other things one after the other. So after I'm done with Rasterization, I'm gonna go with the second one and the third one and so on. Maybe the exception to that is the hacking game, because if this doesn't win today, or if it's not plausible that I will work on this by this weekend, then I'm just gonna work on it off stream. So I'm thinking that's what's gonna happen, but I don't know. I guess you never know. All right, so I'm gonna create a poll. What time is it? It's Jesus, I was speaking for 10 minutes about that. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna run the poll now, but I'm gonna keep it running until after 7:30. That's the usual time that I stream, so it doesn't look like I'm gonna need to like reset OBS. CPU usage has stayed consistent. Let's call it software 3D renderer rasterizer. Operating system virtual file system. Compiler type checking and symbols. Let's call it semantic analysis. Chat on the screen is small. Oh, yes, it is. My bad. I'll fix that in a second. Let me finish the... like I said, I had to reset everything on OBS, so didn't even notice that happened. Even though I've been looking at it and it's too small to read. I somehow didn't register. Okay, then there is... basic HTML rendering. And what's the other thing? Hacking game game slash engine. I know how to spell. Okay. 1 vote per IP address, and let's close the poll, say, on the 1st of the 30th. This fucking format is so dumb. Yeah, today's the 30th, 2026 at 19:35. All right. Here is the poll. Or not, because you're not letting me fucking paste. Why is copying and pasting in Linux such a fucking difficult endeavor? Alright. So feel free to vote now, but it's gonna be open for 30 minutes. I'm just gonna be yapping, I guess, for 30 minutes. Because, again, starting the stream ahead of time. Maybe I should have left some context. Can I edit the message? No, hold on. Hold on. I'll look at that in a second. Can I also change, like, put a description on it? Oh, yeah. What the hell? Yeah, that works. Great. You didn't change my URL, did you? It's the same. Okay, great. Alright, so pin. Then go to Twitch. Hey, Ice Dave. I clicked on the video on the wrong computer. Hold on. Pin this message. And now I'll look at it. Though it sounded really loud, so I'm going to lower my volume here real quick. Alright, let me know if it destroys your ears. So be warned, it might.
How to pronounce programming languages? Sukili, sukili, si cross cross, si cross cross. Chettemule, chettemule.
What?
How to pronounce programming languages?
You know what? Hold on. Can I add more stuff? There we go. Alright, feel free to vote for this now. What to work on. About that one, actually, I'm surprised that people call it sequel. Why do you do that? Okay, let me see about this chat. Not sure why resetting OBS reset the chat, which is a different thing, but somehow that happened. Sukali. Well, if you're taking it from that guy, I get it. Okay, I would love to know why my chat is completely ignoring the size that it's supposed to be. Lovely. Lovely. Right? Absolutely amazing. That is literally the same URL. So why is it wrong? There. So, refresh, I guess. Okay, that looks better. Fixed itself, apparently. Now you can't zoom in browsers on OBS, so I don't fucking know. Well, maybe you can through CSS, but not really. Wait, you can give a URL full access to OBS, like start and stop streaming without warning, etc. What's the use case for that, OBS? No, control mouse wheel doesn't work. There's also no button for it. There is no, not really. Can't really do anything. I can edit it in the actual like chat itself, but not in OBS. You joined late, but I was mentioning the reason I started the stream late is to make sure that I don't get this little cute little memory leak that I got on Mac and now I'm getting on Linux, in which my CPU usage goes up to like 50%, tanks my FPS, makes my stream unusable, unwatchable at the very least, and then refuses to go away unless you factory reset OBS. It's beautiful. It's a really beautiful thing. Yeah, getting rid of the audio interface that seems to cause it, no change. Restarting the computer, no change. Restarting OBS, no change. Switching to a scene that doesn't even use a microphone, no change. Removing the microphone from the scene entirely, no change. The only thing that's worked is fully resetting OBS, both on Mac and Linux. It's a really beautiful bug because it really makes me feel like it takes true dedication to make something that pervasive. It's almost like malware for your own program. It's incredible. Okay. Do I want to take a peek at the results? Yeah, what the hell. People who vote can see it. Alright, Rasterizer is winning, but it's at the same level as Compiler. Operating system got 1 vote. Ruststream got 1 vote. Alright, who is it? Raise your hand so I can ban you. HTML got 0. Hacking Game got 0. I did say Hacking Game is most likely not going to happen on stream at all. But what changed? What changed? Operating system got another vote. Features that I would like? Bit hard to tell considering if I like any features I add them to mine. Autodoc stream from Zozin? Not yet. I saw that he was doing that, and you know, if you have a programming language, you might as well have something like that, so considering it. But not I haven't checked it out yet. Language agnostic? Yeah, I figured as much, right? It shouldn't be too difficult. How does it work? Does he have it on his GitHub? Because I'm not gonna watch the stream on his stream, but pretty sure he has it on GitHub. Boomer. Zoomer application for... What does that mean? What is that? Arena allocator, Olive C. So actually, Olive C is a 2D graphics library, but it actually renders 3D as well. So I was watching some streams from that too. Do we know the name? We probably know the name. I hope. I can probably just sort by the last edited ones, last pushed. His autodoc thing that you were mentioning. Oh, is it in knob by any chance? Skibbity scan, or is that it? I have no idea. Okay, hold on. It's in knob? Okay. By the way, one thing I was wondering is how did he implement knob to be header only? Because I have one idea for how to do it. Because I want my library to be the same way, but if he's done something clever, I might as well just yoink it from him. Though it looks about okay. It's the Jester licking stream. We don't need ASMR Jester, thank you. No, these are not functions. So, do you have any functions, or is it all just defined? It's not all just defined, right? Okay, no, it's not all defined. Hey, Arian. mkdir if not exists. Nub copy file. Is it just completely stateless? No, it takes a nub command. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was expecting. Alright, okay. Nub chain. Cool. Alright. Just wanted to see if there's any inspiration there that I could steal. As far as I know, because mine right now doesn't require you to create an object. You just call functions and it does all that internally. But if I want to make it header only, you're pretty much going to have to pass an object. You're going to have to hold the data because I don't think I can do that in the header. Not entirely sure, but pretty much think that's how it is. Is it in this branch? Well, it's not going to be an experimental do not touch, is it? 3 days ago, he did implement, record, and replay for Windows tests. And besides the git ignore, everything else hasn't been touched in a while. Well, besides knob itself. Chain API. Also, that chain stuff that I was looking at was from like a few days ago. Alright, I have no idea what I'm supposed to look at for the autodoc thing. I'll watch the stream and maybe we'll see what he did tomorrow. Hey, I'm set. Alright, what time is it? It's 7:30. Alright, almost. But there are more people joining, so letting you know I am running a poll on what to work on. Hasn't moved in a while, so feel free to vote. In a couple minutes, I'm gonna give a brief description of all of these. Shorter than the last one. The last one lasted for 10 minutes. I'm gonna check the experimental branch too. What the hell? No, this hasn't been touched in months. What's in nub.c then? So it's not header on? Oh no, hold on. This is probably an example. I've actually never seen how it works. I took a look at Aluminum OS by Google. What is Aluminum OS? Holy, I need to look at this. Alright, let me just speed run through looking at a knob. And then go look at what the other... you know what, let me shut up. Alright, so I know that he has a rebuild yourself functionality, which my build system could use. And probably will have once I make it a little bit better. You do create a command. And you got command line arguments. Android desktop, but with AI slop? Holy. So they looked at what Windows was doing and they were like, let me do that too. Hold on. If you're going down, I'm going down with you. Wait, that's not usually how it works. Ah, but fuck it, I'm going down with you. God, I would love to see both of them fail. But sell YouTube, because I'm on it, so sell YouTube and then, like, fuck off. They are vibe coding Windows. What are you talking about? They are doing that. Okay, so he just passes commands. Then he has some parts that don't require necessarily a communication with the rest of the build system. But most of it does. Okay. Alright. Android-based operating system. I'm kind of ignoring the fact that this is an Android-based operating system, which is Linux-based. So it's Linux for mobile, for desktop. It's going full circle, but in a shitty way. Google Gravity, please create a cheap copy of Windows. Don't make mistakes. You gotta add that. You gotta say the no mistakes. Yeah, that's how you get them. Launching 2026 with the symbol for slop. This means slop now. And these stars, they're the international symbol for slop now. Alright, amazing. My microphone is so much better now. I can just speak without having it in front of me. Google's groundbreaking. Yeah, you gotta break the ground in order to dig yourself into a hole. As they couldn't stoop any lower, so they had to break the ground so they could keep going. Google's groundbreaking Android-based operating system designed exclusively for desktop and laptop computers, merging the best of Chrome OS and Android into a single AI-powered platform. What's the best between diary? You know what? Let me not. They probably feed them LLMs too much anime early in the neural development. With the emojis. I think if anything, they're either overtrained on Twitter, on tech Twitter, or tech Twitter has just been completely brain rotted by AI and now they just speak like an LLM. That's the funny thing. The first thing, if I see someone speaking like an LLM outside of Twitter, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, this is not a real person, this is a bot. If I see someone speaking like an LLM on Twitter, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, that's a Twitter user. Yeah, Google bakes AI into the core components. Amazing. Alright. I want to keep looking at this. But before I do that, let me talk about this for a second now that the stream has kind of officially started. I want people to choose what to work on today. Today, most likely, it's gonna be Rasterizer. I do reserve the right to, invoke martial law and decide that we're gonna work on the Rasterizer anyway, even if something else wins. But I don't know. Maybe you can convince me to do something else. So yeah, I've been working on a 3D renderer. Now it needs to do the rasterizing, which is actually like painting in the triangles and shit, shading and all that stuff. Uh, if not, I can work on my operating system directly. Work on the virtual file system, because I wanna let userland applications expand the file system so they can add new mount points, new slash something to the root directory. You can still vote, yes. I'm just quickly going over the options so you can vote while I check out Aluminum OS and laugh for a little bit. All right, I can keep working on my compiler. I was talking about needing to do some type checking. For example, my compiler right now doesn't know a difference between a pointer and a value, or a reference type and a value type. And that kind of limits me in the amount of code that I can write in a lot of cases. So, all right, votes are coming in. Rasterizers, you're losing. Oh, no, never mind. You got back up. Yeah, so it doesn't know a difference between those things. So we kind of needed to, you know, have more type checking going on and a little bit better semantic analysis. Rust stream, again, looking for the person who voted for this, so I can ban you. Unless you did it ironically, in which case I put that in ironically too, so yeah, good. We can do an HTML renderer, so we can finally rid the world of Chromium and JavaScript. Just saying. Just saying, we could make history today. And I've been working on a hacking game, and it's based off, like, architecture of the game engine is ECS, so Entity Component System. And I kind of build the computers in a way that everything is an entity. So it's actually, every file, directory, all that stuff actually exists in the world. It's obviously very limited. But in order to make the hacking game work really well, I need to build a good interaction system so that you can interact with those entities. Which right now I don't really have a very good interaction system in the engine, so I would have to add that. I'm not seeing this one getting any votes, to be completely honest with you. It's not super interesting. At least I don't see it as super interesting. It clearly, the people who have voted so far also don't, but maybe you do, I don't know. I did say whatever doesn't win today, I work on next. So essentially, today most likely it's going to be rasterizer. Then tomorrow, maybe finish the rasterizer, then move on to the operating system. When that's done, move on to the compiler. When that's done, skip Rust, go to HTML. The exception to that being that I might work on the game. If the hacking game doesn't get any votes, or if it ends up last, which, yeah, then I think I'm gonna work on it off stream so I can keep working on the game. Because right now I prototyped a little bit of it, but I feel like with a new interaction system, I'm gonna be able to do some pretty cool stuff. But right now it's just engine development. It's not super interesting. It's what quite literally everybody else on Twitch software and game development is doing. So switch it up a little bit with one of the other options. All right. Because I didn't know, C23 has macro to include external files as const char variables. Wait, how does that work? Now, the Rust thing is very much a joke. Although, I did say I wanted to check out these languages, so I might just write a little script in Rust. What is Objective Rust? Did you people reinvent Objective C? Please tell me you did, because that would be so fun. I don't know who you people is, because don't think anyone here is a Rust fanboy, but there's people who program in Rust in the chat, to be completely clear, and I respect that. But yeah, I'm not thinking that there's any like, oh, you should have used Rust, you wouldn't have found this bug kind of people. Oh, thanks for the link. Hey KJ. Nearly 5 years of paper writing, being snuck committee meeting notes on the DL until I could access them myself. Okay, so don't need to get poetic, just show me the code. Okay, so you embed the Oh? Oh! Oh! I was gonna say, oh, so it's like an include, but then I looked at the extension. Holy. Um, sound signature, you embed it as chars. So an array of bytes. You don't need a file system anymore. You just embed directly. That's actually super nice. Damn, C23, huh? Not bad, not bad. Const char string. Uint 8. Come on, man. Come on. Alright, that light behind me usually is pointed like towards that shelf. And it like the light bounces off and like looks nice, but now it's just like staring straight into the camera. So give me a second, let me fix that. Yeah, it looks better. Embed can include apparently just like any file, whereas include is supposed to be just code, just header files really. I think you can include .c files, but why would you do that? CPU usage is actually very stable. Is the stream looking okay? Are there any issues? Let me know if there's issues. If there are, the only solution is to stop the stream pretty much, so hopefully not. But we've been going for almost an hour and it's doing good. Include can include files. Yeah, you can include anything you want, but then you don't really have access to the data inside the file. You just have access to the... It gets compiled. Include just like literally, actually the way that it works is when I have, I don't know, include file system or include FAT32, what it's doing, it's literally just taking FAT32 and putting it here. That and file system and also these. In other languages, it's a little smarter than that, but in C is so no bullshit type of language that that's literally what it does, just copies. Include bytes and include string. I might add that to my language. Hold on, let me add it to the list. Not that I need it anymore. It would have been useful back when I was building the operating system and I didn't yet have a file system, but now I do. And even my cross-platform engine has a file system, so I don't really need it anymore, but it is nice. Well, if I ever need it, if you ever see me come across a situation in which I might need it, let me know and I'll add it to my language. I'm not switching to C23 though. I'm on C99, I'm fine with that. Very interesting, very interesting. All right, but I did say I wanted to look at Aluminum OS. I wanna see what this looks like. Is the video pixelated or is it just an LLM hallucinating the UI? Okay, no, it's just a video pixelated, thank God. What are they even showing off right now? Oh, okay. I have to say I never liked Google's material design. It's plain at the very best and toy-like at the very worst. Is it still called material design? Not sure. That's how I know it. That's what we called it in my days. Wow. All right. That was a whole minute to tell us, hey, you can install apps. Wow. Incredible, guys. Ooh, what will we do without Google? What's this one now? Oh, hold on. It's not install apps. It's update apps, by the way. That's what you're doing. So my light's a little dark. It's another update video, but this one's 30 seconds longer. Gemini AI, the brain of Aluminium OS. Also British spelling. Interesting. What is that logo? Holy shit, I thought mine was bad. On-device intelligence, local processing of AI tasks using dedicated NPUs, ensuring privacy and low latency responses without cloud dependency. Interesting to see Google pushing for that. So far, I've only seen Apple push for that. Shit. Alright, hold on. Technical difficulties. That's better. That's better. Alright. Context-aware assistance. Intelligent multitasking with AI. There's AI in the scheduler. Is that too bright now? That feels too bright. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fine. AI-powered window management that suggests optimal layout based on your work habits and screen real estate. Would you like to full screen the ad? There's an ad playing on YouTube right now. We're gonna full screen that for you. Alright, ad's over. Back to the normal video. Here it is, minimized. Code generation and debugging. Oh my god. You know the best thing? Is that most people who haven't fallen straight into AI psychosis don't even use AI that much. They don't care about AI. They may use it a little bit, but they don't give a shit about it. The only people who are constantly glazing AI are, I was gonna say human beings, which, yeah, are programmers, which is why one of the features of their OS is code generation and debugging, because these are the only people enough to use this fucking god-awful technology. How much is actually AI powered? You'd be surprised. Now, keep in mind, when I say AI in a disrespectful manner, generative AI, LLMs, chatbots. I mean chatbots. Machine learning is an interesting subject. One that I was interested in, which is why I initially was interested in AI and excited about it, and then I looked at it and I was like, I'm pretty sure you could do something better. Couldn't you have... Yep. And then I just gave up. I was just like, yeah, whatever, fuck you. Yeah, if the AI talks, you didn't do the best job you could have done. Let's leave it at that. Gemini AI integration, native Android ecosystem. No, because everyone loves Android. As a person who's had to develop for Android a little bit, I gotta tell you, I'm so happy whenever I have to touch Android. Oh my god, I fucking love it. Desktop class interface. Wow. Only there was another operating system based on the same kernel that Android uses, but built for desktop and not with AI. Seamless cross-device sync. It's on the cloud. Optimized performance. For what? These are the people who made Chrome talking about optimized performance. Optimized what? Optimized for data stealing, maybe, but not for actual performance. Enterprise-grade security. And a couple backdoors. Which is still enterprise, but yeah. Material U design. Okay, so they changed it to Material U design. Cool. Cloud-first architecture. Remember when they were talking about local AI? Doesn't have to rely on cloud? And then immediately, cloud-first architecture. Gaming and entertainment. Native support for Android games, cloud gaming platforms, game controllers, and adaptive refresh rate displays. If I see a single person playing on this system, I don't know. Is it a joke website? I don't know if it's a joke website, to be honest. You can never tell. Is it an actual thing? Okay, now I gotta make sure. Have I just been trolled? Please tell me I have. Please tell me I have. Is it on the news? Okay, they're all in Spanish. Thank you, Google. Yeah, it leaked 2 days ago. So okay, the website might be fake. It's not a joke. It feels like a joke website. I'm not gonna lie. Because they're talking about leaks, but maybe this is outdated information. Everything's from like 2 days ago, 1 day ago. No one's talking about AI in the actual headlines. But they are revealing bug reports. But it may not be it. Alright, hold on. Also, the website being aluminium-os.com is very suspicious. It's registered with GoDaddy. This is not Google. I doubt they do that. Yeah, it feels like the video leaked and people made up the AI part. AI-powered window manager? I mean, keep in mind, just change the name to Copilot OS and you got Windows 12 right there. Which, by the way, I considered buying copilotos.com and calling my OS Copilot OS, but that would probably infringe on copyright. And also, somebody 20 years ago registered copilotos.com, by the way. 20 years ago. This person was fucking Nostradamus with that name. I don't know how they did it. Now, the screen recordings, I believe, are probably real. See, it's giving me all the news in Spanish, so it's not like I want to open them, but... Videos leaked in the bug report. Building Android for PCs, unknown details. Are they returning Chrome OS? Is Chrome OS also based on Linux but not on Android, I'm assuming? Yeah, I'm not seeing any references here to Gemini. Oh, wait. Holy shit, no. Alright, I feel like the features were fake, but according to this, much like Android XR, Google says its new Aluminium OS, is built with artificial intelligence AI at the core. This implies deep integration with Gemini, Google's AI chatbot and large language model LLM. At the Snapdragon Summit, Rick Osterloh, Google's SVP of Devices and Services, outlined the company's plans to bring its AI stack to PCs. This is another way we can leverage all of the great work. Impressive, honestly. We're doing together on our AI stack, our full stack, building Gemini models, bringing the assistant, bringing all of our applications and developer community into the PC domain, and I think this is another way in which Android is going to be able to serve everyone in the computing category. Oh, I bet. Oh boy. So it's not even fake. The website is probably fake, but the actual contents of it are not fake. The features are probably fake. It is officially Android AI slop, yes. Yes. The only reason that iOS is even a little bit manageable nowadays is because AI is local only and opt out. Well, it's not opt out, it's technically opt in, but you get a question when you set up your phone, so. Alright. Buttons that humanity didn't ask for. Again, um, even if that website was fake, which, yeah, it's registered with fucking GoDaddy. Obviously, it's fake. But it's pretty clear that they, you can see all the AI marketing going towards programmers because they're the only people who even use it. Everyone else, it's either like, might as well, it's there already, or they don't use it at all. Alright, there are ads on Twitch, and I no longer have the ad manager on OBS, so I kind of cannot see it. Let me see if I can set that up real quick during the ads.
What he's looking for, one more.
Are you serious? Autoplay with sound. So when I actually open someone else's stream, that like I click on it, I'm like, I want to look at this person's stream. It starts muted, but when I just go to twitch.com, it starts with sound. These are the people that are making AI. Well, not Twitch, but like big tech companies. So you can just imagine how competent they are. This is the level of software that they're able to produce. And they're like, yep, we're gonna revolutionize the world with slop. I need to log into Twitch. Shit. I cannot remember the last time I used a product from one of these big tech companies that actually just fucking works without finding bugs every 5 minutes. For example, I'm typing into Twitch and nothing's happening, though that's probably OBS, which is glitchy, but open source. Alright, we're gonna start a coding in a second. I gotta... Oh, fucking authenticators, are you serious, bro? Open source programs can be good, but they tend to have a lot fewer resources, is the problem. Which is, again, why this bug that I've been having with OBS is fucking horrible. And it honestly annoys me a lot because it... Shit, I had to reset my entire, like, OBS, I had to restart it. But, damn, it's not a multi-billion-dollar company running it. If it... But this is like, the core services that these companies offer don't fucking work. Their operating systems that they make don't work. Their websites don't work. Their phones don't work. Nothing fucking works anymore. I would love to hear how anti-AI is a pro corpo, considering who's pushing for the AI. I would love to hear that one. Okay, let's actually get to the coding. So, yesterday I asked you, no, today I asked you what to work on. And I did say, usually I ask this and then I pick one project and I work on it, whereas now I'm picking one feature of each of my projects, and we're going to work on them in order. So actually, this exact order that we have here, ignoring Rust stream, because for the love of God, we're not doing that. That was a joke. Although I will do a little Rust, but I'm not doing a project in Rust. I just realized, Shinkun, that on the actual Twitch chat, I can see your, is it called Romanized? Latin letters of your name, but on OBS chat I can't. So, good to know. Alright. Yeah, so, what to work on? Features. today we're working on le triangle, officially. I'm changing the name of the string. The stream, not the string. Although it is a string internally, but you know, whatever. You get it. Le triangle. Le triangle. We are doing le triangle today. Yep. All right, so I'm gonna work on that until we have a very basic rendering pipeline, you know, with rasterizing le triangle and then a fragment shader. After that, move on to virtual file systems, which again is gonna be a very, very simple thing, honestly. It's just adding support for virtual file systems to userland applications. Yeah, Le Triangle is the badminton guy. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Then type checking and semantic analysis for the compiler. Nope. Then HTML. And the hacking game, I need to add an interaction system to my game engine. I'm gonna do that on my own. Le triangle into le fragment. That's pretty much what we're gonna be doing. Alright, I also looked it up and the guy's videos don't have any music, so pretty sure I can just show it. Just so we all know what le triangle is. I have to say, I still don't know the logic behind why the numbers and the counting and all that stuff. That's it's gonna be a long video, so. The corpus want us to be less developed in the text sense. That's true, but they're the ones who created the fucking AI. What are you talking about? That's the problem. Again, if we were talking machine learning, just do that. It's great. It's pretty great. But generative AI, fuck that. And not supporting it is not pro-corporate because they're the ones who were pushing it. This makes no sense. I don't even know what I'm arguing for here. Or against here, to be honest. Okay. Le triangle time. C'est le temps... nous vous à travailler... Nous vous travailler dans les triangles. I lost it completely. I sometimes can speak a couple French words today, just it's not that day. I'm not sure that's how that works. Alright, we are opening le triangle. Le triangle. Le triangle. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Where is it? Oh, I changed the name of the project, right. 1, 2, 3. That's the one. Okay. By the way, I have these images. I took screenshots of it, and they ended up on the repo, and I haven't deleted them. I mean, what you're saying, Penguin, makes perfect sense, and I agree with it. What I don't see is how that is a pro-AI take. How that is a defense of AI. It really isn't. AI is the reason we're in this fucking mess in the first place. Or how you can continue to support this fucking technology in its current state. Again, if you want to support machine learning, I'm all for that. But not LLMs, not vibe coding. And if you feel that way, you shouldn't support that type of stuff. As convenient as it is, because I understand it's fucking convenient to have someone else or something else write your boilerplate for you, write stuff that you don't know about instead of having to do the research and the work yourself. It's convenient. If you have an ideological problem with it, I'm not sure the mental gymnastics here are working, to be honest. Okay. In terms of le triangle, que nous avons aujourd'hui, c'est 10. How do you say 10? Je ne sais pas. We have a windmill. I actually fixed it. On Wednesday, I streamed, and I was gonna do just a quick little, little improvements here and there. Simple, hour-long stream tops. It ended up being like 3 hours, because there were already multiple issues that I hadn't even noticed that were getting in the way of the fixes that I was, and the improvements that I was doing. So I thought that the improvements were bugged. No, the bug came from before. That was quite fun. If AI ceases to exist, then Linux wouldn't have the market share it has today. Oh, I'm down for that. Let's just go. I'm joking. It is the best one out there, but Jesus. The toxic Linux forum users is a deal breaker for many. Yeah, and we'd probably need to come up with a replacement for Stack Overflow. That's kind of sucks, but here's the thing. I don't disagree with the idea of having machine learning do searching for us, which is what most people, whenever I talk about AI, most people are like, well, I don't use it to write code, I use it to research, I use it to teach me. Here's the problem that I have with that. How do you know that what it's teaching you is right? It can hallucinate anything at any point that you won't know unless you do the research yourself. So what's the fucking point of using the AI in the first place? But the logic behind doing that is very understandable. However, a machine learning, non-generative AI framework for doing research, essentially just Googling, summarizing, Googling, summarizing, Googling, summarizing, which is what AI claims to do but doesn't fucking do. Or, someone that knows a little bit more about machine learning can probably tell you a better way to do it without using generative AI. It would be great. It would be a great tool. What it would be is a better search engine. Instead, what we have is worse search engines than what we had 2-3 years ago, because they actually used to work, and now they kind of don't anymore. Even the most basic searches, the search engine has now been nerfed so that it cannot get the result right. Instead, you have the AI overview, or you can ask AI directly, and even then you get an answer that you have to double check because it might just be fake. And while I do agree that decentralization is the right way to go, I don't agree that LLMs are the way to go. At all. They're too abstract. They're too unnecessary. They're fucking unnecessary. There's no need for that shit. There's no need for a generalized model. You would have to put in a little bit more effort if you want to make a machine learning model that does specifically one thing. That isn't based on an LLM. But hey, it would be smarter, it would use less resources, it would work better, it would be easier to check its sources. All of that stuff. Work with the company, boost your search, research employees by LLM, hallucinated a physical law that doesn't exist. Did it invent perpetual motion machines? That would be cool. Also, keep in mind, there's more ways to develop technology besides LLMs in machine learning, in AI, and there's more ways to develop technology than AI. But LLMs are 100% a step in the wrong direction. There's no redeeming qualities to them whatsoever. Also, if anyone knows, I saw Primogen talk about his new AI product. I can't say I cared enough to pay attention, so can someone tell me, is it just a wrapper? Because it felt like it was just a wrapper from what little I paid attention to. And he was talking about, well, there's the anti-AI people and there's the pro-AI people, and I'm somewhere in the middle. So I made this, and then it looked like an AI wrapper to me, so if anyone knows about it, please let me know. Because I can never fucking understand where that guy sits. Besides of sitting on the fence. Uh, can never fucking form a full opinion on anything, it seems. I'm trying not to comment on him on a personal level. Let's leave it at that. Okay, le triangle. Le triangle. Okay, so right now I'm rendering that little windmill. Little. It's the biggest model that I have in the resources of my project. But I think for rasterization, we're probably going to want to work with the box or the cube, which are just cubes, just with different scaling. Right? I added triangulation, so even if the OBJ gives me n-gons or n-polygons, or whatever ones they're called, but essentially polygons with more than 3 faces, I turn them into 3 faces. Such is the case for this little cube. But as we can see, it's fully wireframe. We can obviously see through it. But we can see here, this here is one of the side triangles. This one is one. But we need to render them. We need to render them. Okay. As far as I understand, I saw Sebastian Lake do this. And honestly, I thought it was intuitive enough that it would be simple to try to replicate. You kind of just want to go through the triangles that you have, and first off, you want to get their bounding box. So this triangle, well, no, hold on. Let's do this triangle here. This one on the side, right? Its bounding box is the rectangle that contains it. So it's like here, down here, all the way down here, here. And then you want to check the pixels of that to see if they're inside or outside of the triangle. And if they're inside the triangle, then you render them. If not, you don't. And we're apparently running at minus 2 billion FPS. That's how good my software renderer is. It actually has FPS so high it overflows. Incredible. Not sure why that's happening, to be completely honest with you, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, so that's the thing. Getting the bounding box first, which is easy. You just get the minimum x, minimum y, maximum x, maximum y. And then you want to see which pixels are inside and outside of the triangle, which I saw was done with dot product. And as a matter of fact, yesterday I worked on a little project, black hole game. Yes. I bought a game on Steam. It was an instant refund about like you play as a black hole. It was an instant refund because the gameplay isn't like this, where you just like kind of go around absorbing shit. So I was like, yeah, no, thank you. So I just created this really quickly. And to do the circle math and all that stuff, which I'm technically rasterizing circles in this one. But that's kind of easy, because you just check if a pixel is within the distance of the radius of the circle. But because of this, I already have dot product. And I also had magnitude, vector magnitude. I implemented that for my operating system, but then apparently it's broken. The x86 version is broken, so kind of couldn't rely on that, which is why I ended up implementing dot product instead. Right, but dot product is what we need. And as a matter of fact, I already created this little stub for rasterizing a triangle based off of its 3 vertices. So we should be able to do that. Check if point lies on which side of the infinite line. And a triangle is 3 infinite lines, just ended. Isn't it just Agario? So it's not really, it is Agario because I'm literally just rendering circles. But I don't want to bash the game, so I'm not gonna say its name, but there is another game called Donut County or something like that, in which you just play as a whole and just like destroy levels by just eating smaller and smaller objects. Bigger and bigger objects, starting from really small objects to really big objects, until you destroy the entire level. It's based off that. Agario has a competitive component to it. The issue with the Donut County game is that apparently I finished it, and I tried playing it yesterday when I saw that other black hole game and I was disappointed by it. I was like, you know what? Now I feel like playing this game, and it forces you to play through its story, which like I don't care about. I just want to play as a black hole and destroy things. That's it. Ideally, you would play that game in like a 2.5D type of scenario. So maybe I'll port it to the software renderer eventually, but that's not really necessary right now. All right. So to rasterize a triangle, let's begin with the bounding box of the triangle, which we can just calculate. I should already have a AABB type of structure, if I'm not mistaken, in my math library. AABB2. And we're talking about the triangle on the screen, so we just need the 2D version of this. Bounding box, or BB. All right, so the BB minimum x is the minimum between vector 0 x, vector 1 x, and vector 2 x. Right? I should hope so anyway. I hope I'm not making mistakes already in the simplest part of this whole thing. Alright, so there's that. And then the same logic we're going to duplicate, and we're going to make it for Maximilian instead over here. So, whoops. There we go, just mess it all up. How did I mess it up that the I stayed here? Alright. That should give us the bounding box of our triangle. And to test that out, we can do an FB draw line into the... Do we have the context, by the way? We do have it, okay. Floor. Fair, these are floats. So the floor would really go here. At least for now. Between x... No. BB min x... BB min y... Yes, that's correct. then max, and then max. And this one we're going to make a beautiful blood red color. No, we don't have a context. Oh, we do. We just need to reference it. Seal for max. True. Okay. So actually, what I'm drawing here is a diagonal line. That's not what we want. We want to draw a rectangle right now. So we actually start at 0, 0, and we go towards maximum on the x-axis. So we don't modify the y-axis at all. Then we start at 0, 0. Why am I keeping the floors? This is just for visualizing, so I'm going to delete all of it. It's fine. It's fine. Although I should probably just put them here, honestly, yeah. Okay, 0, 0, and this time we don't want to move on the x-axis, we want to go to the bottom of this one. Then we want to go to the end of this one, down here, and then the bottom left corner to the bottom right. Like so. Yeah, I'm thinking it didn't work. Do I need to do anything else? Rasterize le triangle, is that being called? Time to find out. Le triangle. Le triangle, it is being called. Alright, so there's only like a handful of triangles, so it should be okay to tell us the size, like BB min x, BB max x, no, min y, BB max x, BB max y, and BB no money. Le triangle 0, 1, 1, 4. Oh, well, if I want to render that, I need to do the conversion here as well. Well, yeah, the problem, that's not really the problem. The problem is I'm not passing in the right coordinates. Essentially. Alright, so let me do a little bit of a refactor here, where I use the vector 2 for screen 0. Screen 0 is this and this. Then screen 1 is this and this. Okay, so I can get rid of that now. And now what you render is screen 0x, screen 0y, screen 1x, screen 1y. Then here we calculate in the same manner as 2, where the first value is this one, second value is this one, and now we use these values instead of those, and well, kind of the same values but with a 2 here. And even though I don't have a quad rasterization anymore, maybe I'll bring that back in the future, so we will still support it in the renderer. Although I won't write the rasterizer for it today, but it is kind of the same thing, just with 3 instead of 2. No, 4 instead of 3 vertices, is what I meant. 3, 2, 0, 0. I didn't change the name of this one. There we go. And then you want to do from S2 to... What the hell am I doing? I didn't copy that. Alright. And now you don't want to rasterize le triangle anymore. These are vector 3s. No, you want to rasterize vector 2s. Which just means we need to change the arguments. AC Films, just getting started on software rendering rasterizer. That's the name of it, rasterizer. And what is your problem with that? I didn't change the stub for this one. So, real quick, these vector 3s become vector 2s. High chance I'm gonna be able to just join the triangle and quad rasterizers. Well, that seems a little bit not amazingly right. Am I right? They do seem to have something closer to pixel coordinates, I would say. And even though they're floats, they are... we can... Oh, wait, because I used 0. What was I going for with that? I just realized. It was supposed to be BB min X on all of these. And again, I might as well take advantage and get rid of the floors. Then min Y. Then min Y, you stay on min X and move to max Y. Yeah, I'm not sure what the plan was there. That feels better. Although there's some triangles there that I probably did wrong. Okay, minimum goes to max. Yeah, that's probably. Go to max X, stay on the same Y. Then minimum, stay on the same X, go to the max Y. The minimum is no longer right. Now we start at the, so we render this one and this one. Now we need to render this one and this one. So starting at min X to max X, but always at max Y. And always at max X with min Y, max Y. And that looks a lot better. So if we look at it closely, we can see, for example, that the bottom face is right here. Whereas we can see from the perspective, it really starts here, ends here, here, and here. It's a little bit hard to see that one. But it does fall entirely within this bounding box. And for that matter, we could just paint in this box and call it a day, but that's not good enough. For this model, it will work. For all other ones, it wouldn't. All right, but the point is we have a bounding box. All right, so then what we got to do is we got to figure out Excalidraw. Help me out here. Okay, so we have our triangle. It's just kind of drawn like that. And then we have its bounding box, which is, let's make it a little bit more precise, like that. That's what we have. All right, now we're going to check each of these pixels individually. I don't think there's any more optimization we can do to get fewer fewer iterations of this, but still, we're not checking every pixel of the screen. We're just checking every pixel around the triangle. Minecraft 2.01, January 13th, I believe it was released. Update 3 just dropped, I think. Yeah, so we're going to check each of them, and we're going to check if they are inside of the triangle, le triangle. So to do that, we're going to use the dot product, because the dot product, can we get a little explanation going on the dot product? 'Cause to be honest, I haven't, I learned the formula from somewhere else, but I haven't reasoned it out. Is there a little illustration of the dot product? No. It's an algebraic operation, takes two equal length sequences of numbers, coordinate vectors, and returns a single number. Are you going to give us any more information on that? Cartesian coordinates. It hasn't actually explained in the first paragraph what it actually represents. It is the sum of the products of the corresponding entries of the two sequences of numbers. Geometrically, the scalar product of two vectors is the product of their lengths and... Oh my god. What is dot product? That's just an explanation of the formula. It's not really much of a... This is equally useless. Am I speaking Chinese here? The dot product represent how much they align or point in the same direction. Okay, thank you. That is helpful, actually. Helpful as fuck. They went to Reddit so that you could give them a link. Alright, well, you know what? In the modern world, I have to rely on either Google AI summarization or Reddit to get a fucking simple answer on something about mathematics. Beautiful. I love the technology of the modern day. I should have just gone into music. Why did I choose to learn programming? Why did I do this to myself? Is my stream okay? Yeah. Twitch can't decide if I'm live or not right now, so give me a second. What about you, YouTube? You probably have the same issue, because you always have the same issue. It surprisingly does not have the same issue. Alright, yeah, I'm live. Yeah, I feel like the stream broke, didn't it? Yeah. Cool. Okay, CPU usage is good on my end, and so is FPS. You see it on other streams. I'll link you to my YouTube. Or not, because I can't type, apparently. In case you're interested in watching from YouTube, you have it over there. If you're on YouTube, you also got it in the chat, so... Yeah, no, when I went to look in the stream manager, I saw that there was an error. Now it looks fine, but yeah, it was down for a second, I guess. Am I alive? I think so. Not entirely sure. YouTube is fine. Good to hear. Okay. So if Twitch is having issues, well, there you have it. I'm also gonna pin that. And the stream. There we go. All right. So if you have issues with YouTube, with Twitch, you have YouTube. All right. So we're gonna iterate through all of these, and we're gonna see the dot product of what exactly? Because like for this point, This is the part that I didn't necessarily learn. Is it the dot product of this kind of? This point and this point, I believe? Or this? I'm not sure. Software rasterizer dot Hadoop. I cannot spell. I've had this keyboard for like 2 weeks now. This is, by the way, where I got the dot product formula. AB versus BC and CA versus AP, BP, and CP. What? Oh, the triangle is... Okay, thank you. Thank you. So you compare AB versus AP, right? Is what I'm understanding. Yeah, we might as well. Funnily enough, he goes into what I'm doing now, and then goes into what I did last few times. You can literally see it's one of the most replayed sections. Yeah, the dot product formula, by the way, is this simple. It's just x times x plus y plus y times y.
And the cosine of the angle between function, which just calculates the...
Test if a point is on the right side of a line with a, b, and p, with p minus a perpendicular to... Oh, you're getting the perpendicular. Alright, first off, before I even get into this, I don't want to debug this for 50 different... There's like 6 sides to the... Well, there's 12 now, but still, I don't want to debug this for 12 different triangles at the exact same time. So we're going to comment these out, and as long as they don't start with F, they're not going to be rendered. Pretty much that leaves me with one... Can I pick a better one? Like the front one? Not entirely sure which one the front one is. This one. This one's either front or back. Either way, that's what we're going to do. Alright, so we're going to work with one triangle first, and we're going to uncomment out the other ones, and so on. Rotate by 90 degrees. Yeah, I think he was doing that. Yeah. Yeah, he was doing that. The way that he explained it is that gave him a up or down, and if you rotate it, that gives you a left or right. But either way, hold on. Oh, okay, float 2. I hadn't noticed the float 2 thing here. Right. So, for our triangle, what we are going to do is we already have the bounding box. So we're going to iterate over it. We're drawing the bounding box right now, which is not really necessary. We'll get rid of that once we have a better rasterizer, but I'm going to do it on floats because it's easier. Start with y. Starting at bb min x, y smaller than bb max, no, y, not x, and y plus plus. We're going to do the same thing for x, yx, because you're no longer together. Alright. And just to test it out, fb draw pixel context x, y, I'm already using green and red, so we're gonna make this blue. Hmm. It looks like... Yeah, lines after filling is correct. I'm not doing any clipping, which is a problem. It's a little bit of a problem. I think I was doing the clipping on the wrong place, come to think of it. Because that's buggy. That's the issue with that. Which is why I just commented it out, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's just nothing right now. But... No, hold on. That's not right. Okay, I'll figure out the... I'll figure out the proper clipping later, but I do know one simple thing that I can do to ensure that we're clipping properly, and that is... to clamp the value. Do I have a clamp function, by the way? I don't think I do. No. Alright, but that's pretty much what I'm doing here. Min, max, this, and then the context width. And... no, that was supposed to be a 0. 0 here, context width here. It should already... keep in mind, clipping should handle these types of things, so it's kind of a hack. Min-max this cursed? I guess a little bit. I should just create a clamp function, for the love of God. I have clamp F. Why didn't it suggest it? So it's clamp F, a float between a minimum and a maximum. Alright, so we want to clamp... Can I just rewrite them all? We want to clamp... this value between 0 and CTX width or height. Here and here, it's going to be height. Yeah, it still doesn't work. -1 is also right. Because yeah, the drop pixel function is already clamping, but yeah, this one's not. It's not. It's not doing amazing. 340, 1079, 1578, and 1079. Wait, this is after clamping? If it's less than minimum, return the minimum, otherwise return the value. And if it's more than maximum, return the maximum, otherwise return the value. which is just a fancier way of writing the min-max function that I was doing before. What I'm a little bit confused by is the size of the screen. Oh, it's 1920. Oh, okay. So no, this is a totally valid value. And you should be rendering those pixels then. Right, so right now it's 1919. 1079. And 1919, 1079. I see why it doesn't render now. Whereas here's 523, so it starts here. 1079. I see. Something's afoot. What happens if I don't clamp it? This is weird as hell. You're telling me that 0 gets clamped to... Yeah, that number is weird as hell with the flooring. Because what it's doing is it's converting it to an int. But then I'm assigning it again to an... okay. Do I have those even? CLF? Oh, that it returns unsigned. I understand. Yeah, why does it return unsigned? What the hell? Oh, great. Again, I love that Linux can just leak stuff like that. Can just leak what's on my other screen. I'm always a little bit confused when I see it. I'm like, what the hell's happening? Okay. Holy hell, it's so slow. You don't want to call this every single time, but it's working fine. It's just incredibly slow. Is the issue with that. That's not... hold on. I want to make sure I'm calculating everything correctly. Yeah, essentially right now the triangle takes up the entire screen. Well, the bounding box takes up the entire screen, whereas in reality the triangle is only half of that. So yeah, we can actually see the bounding box is correct. I think it's just that drawing all these pixels makes for a very slow renderer, and then when I zoom out, it zooms out very quickly because of the delta time being pretty high. If I do this, it gets a little bit better, but yeah, I'm not sure why you're not zooming at all, actually. Can I... I'm not sure about this. All right. Either way. Come to think of it, this is just calling draw pixel. It's not like it's doing anything particularly fancy there. I understand I'm drawing all those pixels one by one. That's not the most efficient way of doing it. It is still, I don't know, not that big a deal. By the way, I found out that you can do kind of like a frame buffer type of thing from the same video, actually, the rasterizer video, on Raylib. So instead of using LGFW, I'll just do that instead, which is probably better. Okay. The stream on Twitch looks fine now, I think. But again, let me know if there's issues, and if they continue, you have the YouTube stream on pinned. And by the way, on YouTube, you still have the polls pinned, which is not. Well, I didn't mean to delete the message. I just meant to unpin it. My bad. Okay. Let's actually do the math. Right? So, for each of the segments, which is V0 to V1, V1 to V2, V2 to V0, then you want to do, first off, this here, move it directly in there. Maybe we even want it to be on top of everything. All right, so it's now V, not S. Okay, so actually that... I don't think it's supposed to do this when I scroll. Oh well, it's a little buggy. We're not there yet. Anyway, our goal is to remove the red part essentially, and only render in the green part. Right. To do that, we're going to take each of these segments and calculate their perpendicular of b minus a, interestingly enough. By the way, float2 is not a built-in type, right? Just want to make that clear. No, it's not. But I do have pre-calculate vector 2 AB, which is the perpendicular. It's a vector y minus vector x of b minus a. So I have a vector 2 sub of b minus a. And then from that, I want to take the y and minus x. Oh, add started. Come on, man, I'm assigning a value to itself. Can you not do this? Alright, so that's the first one. Then there's BC. Damn it. No, that was good. BC, BC, BC. And then K. CA. Alright, so might as well just calculate these vectors outside of the for loop, because why would we calculate them inside the for loop? We do want to calculate, though, the point minus A. Yeah, no, what we want to do is we want to have a function for this. Vector 2 segment. Oh no, but I do need the original value, so vector 2 A segment, which is pre-calculate, or perp for perpendicular, and vector 2 point. Since we do need the original A, but we already have these calculated. And so boom. Right. So Jesus, that was loud. So it's P minus A. P minus A. Then we have our perpendicular, and we return the dot product between those two, vector 2 dot, between the perpendicular and PA bigger or equal to 0. And then we call this 3 times as point inside, where A is just vector 0, this is AB, and this is a point that we're going to create from X and Y, which we're only going to create once for the love of God. No, just call it P. B and C are based off of 1, stop doing that, and 2, BC and CA. Why do I have what? And then it should kind of be like if they're all the same, right? I think. If A, can you sort them? No, not really. And B and C. Not sure what I was trying to do with that. We got nothing. So, oh, well, we got a little something. We got a little something there, kind of. Yeah, that's not quite right. Okay. First off, simple math. AB is B minus A. So it's vector 1 that. No. V2, V0. That's number one. Second, AB, 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 BC, 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 CA, 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 CA. Cool. Then V0 with AB, V1 with BC, V2 with CA. I'll use the point, which is XY. Boom. Le triangle s'est rasterisé. What is happening to my... Is it the FPS that's going crazy? No. My scroll wheel's just not working anymore? I scrolled that far. Yeah, so the triangle just tanks the FPS to levels never seen before. Holy. Two FPS? Yeah, that is a problem. We're going to have to get a little clever about this. I know some ways. CA is wrong. V2, V0, CA, CA. I think it's good. Now, anyway. V0, V2. Oh yeah, that's true actually. Why are you right, but now it's wrong? You're actually right, but this is wrong now. Also, yeah, so long as the FPS is this shitty, I'm just kind of gonna set the depth to a very low value and not touch it. No, not to a very low value. Yeah, to a... Where is the depth anyway? Is it not called the depth? What does the scroll wheel control? Oh, the camera position. The camera position. That's what I want to change. Camera position defaults. Where? Here, I believe. Should I have gone negative? I should have gone... No, that's actually fine. Yeah, that's actually fine. Yeah, okay. Why was that correction right, but when I did it, it messed it up? Because, this is wrong. But it doesn't look wrong. To me. Okay, the thing that I don't know is... No, this is the triangle that we're rendering. What is happening inside the sub function? It's a minus b, a minus b. Because we go b minus a, c minus b, but then we go a minus c, except we're doing it backwards. But somehow it works, where it shouldn't. It really shouldn't work. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Okay. What do you do in the face of something like this? You encounter something so shit that shouldn't be happening. But it's working. And it's not like, oh, it's working, but it... No, it is. It's working, but it shouldn't. I meant it's not. It's working, but it will break eventually. It's why the fuck is it working? It's not even rendering the wrong triangle or anything like that. The segments match perfectly. Point inside is P minus A. Is the order of the perp? No, that doesn't matter. B minus A, perpendicular, P minus A. Yeah. Dot does not matter. The order does not matter inside the dot product. Because it's just multiplying the x's and the y's. P minus A is right. But then this is B minus A. That is so confusing. What I'm a little bit confused about is this math. Shouldn't it be checking that they're all in the same? Because also from that same rendering video, I remember him doing this. And then being like, yeah, that's not right. So I think this should be the logic, in which case this probably will work. For the love of God. I am so confused by the fact that this works when the math is wrong and doesn't work when the math is right. Oh God. Because the point is left of the triangle, right? When's spinning fish? Well, this is the FPS right now. It's at the decent 14 actually. Hey employee and Crumbus. But I am also finding this really weird thing where it's rendering something that it shouldn't be rendering. Jesus Christ. I mean, it works when it shouldn't, and it doesn't work when it should. We're tripping over here. Figure 3. Which one is figure 3? This one's 1, so this one's probably 2, so this one's 3, right? No, those are not figures. Three. 12-hour corporate event. Ooh. Good luck. I haven't had to go to a corporate event in like 2 years. So I got lucky that it just so happens that all the corporate events were at the same time as my holidays, but Jesus. Cutting it close a few times there. But still, I got lucky. Yeah, okay, I understand the... I have to say, at some point he starts talking about like backface calling and all that, and I kind of like probably mixed some concepts there that I shouldn't have. Probably better this than a YouTube video. But yeah, what's really confusing is that subtractive this versus this. This versus this. Although it's doing perpendicular. Is my perpendicular logic correct? ABY minus ABX, BCY minus BCX, CAY minus CAX. That looks correct. So I'm really confused. I mean, it works? It just shouldn't. It shouldn't work. That's the problem. It shouldn't work. Insane. Okay. Well, I'm reluctant to move on past this because it shouldn't work. But it does. Either way, though, I do have a little bit of a frame rate issue. Does the order of the vertices matter here? BA, CA, dot product of that, normal. That's for normals, right? That's for backface calling eventually. Cross, okay, yeah. But that's for the normal. That's not really what I need right now. Maybe my triangle is normally called. Well, sure, yeah, I don't know which triangle I'm using right now. It would render though, I don't have any backface calling whatsoever. That's a different story. Either way, to continue developing this, I feel like drop pixel is not really gonna work for us. It's too slow. So I can do a fill rect with the same coordinates. Whoops. In the same color. This is gonna give me slightly more, you know, pixelated results. Must be CC. Okay, I understand. But it does give me better FPS. Like, by a lot. And it's barely noticeable, so... Holy, look at the difference. Wait, now I wonder. If it just so happens that drop pixel is so slow, whereas fill rect probably does some optimization for me. Nope. Well, yes, kind of. No, not really. Alright, either way. We can define a quality setting. We can even make it like kind of dumb, like 20 pixels. And it does something like that. It's not incredible, but we have a little bit of quality going on. You can see now it's much smoother. Alright. And now it does still make me wonder if I make this one. It's a noticeable drop in quality. As opposed to the barely perceptible 2 pixels. Which renders at like 40, 30 FPS. So this works for me for now. It must be counterclockwise. It only works if backside called. Kind of surprised by that, actually. Alright, so we need this math. Cross product of BACA. And then object transform, inverse of the transform. Do we need that? Alright, first off, what's the math for... You should be able to turn that off sometimes, so that's kind of why I'm surprised. Gonna need cross product and only Z component. Because you are 2D. Hold on. Okay, hold on. There's one thing I hadn't thought of. It's the fact that I'm rendering an entire face of quads. I'm rendering 2 triangles. Right? Am I not rendering 2 triangles? Because I'm not seeing the math for 2 triangles here, but there should be 2 triangles. Can you tell me how many there are? There should be 2 in here. No, num segments. There are 2, okay. And then by any chance are you... No, you're not doing anything. Yeah, the question is, am I actually rasterizing two triangles? I think I am rasterizing two triangles, but they kind of end up either overlapping or... so this shape does make sense. What doesn't make sense to me is this. And this. Why am I not seeing two triangles being rendered? Shouldn't I be seeing two triangles being rendered? I am. I am seeing two triangles being rendered. So why does one of them disappear entirely behind... Okay, that's probably something of how Raylib handles drawing, because this is overriding this. But I think then what I'm seeing makes a lot more sense. When I fix the math here, I get a quad. Whereas instead, if I get rid of one face, I get just one of them. And if I get rid of this one instead... Okay, yeah. My triangulation is a little weird, but yeah. Okay. That's what I was right in being reluctant to continue, because well, yeah. Obviously. Um, obviously I was right to be reluctant to continue because that didn't make any fucking sense. But we somehow managed to maintain an even decent frame rate. So of course the next question we gotta ask ourselves is how will it work with the windmill? I'm assuming absolutely atrocious, but holy, yeah, quite atrocious. What? Hold on. It's not. Well, it's not horrifying, but it does drop FPS. Um, can I do something about the FPS? Like make this a minimum. Which, it's so weird that min is used to clamp values down. Because you want the minimum value. So I have a ceiling, and if my value goes above it, using the min function returns the ceiling. But using min to define a maximum value feels so counterintuitive. Oh, minf, minf. Still, 0.2 was too much. I mean, 0.5 was too much. Let's do 0.2. Zero 0.5 even. When the FPS drops too much, it still gets a little... what's 1 over 30? 0.3. So you want to limit it to that. Is that working? No, because I put it in the wrong place. I didn't put it in the actual logic that I'm looking at. I put it in the FPS formatter. I had an absolutely incredible coding session we got today, everybody. Some incredible work being done. Very important work. Okay, there we go. So now it kind of doesn't go crazy anymore. Even though the FPS goes crazy. Hey, default. Now it looks a lot better. And we can decrease the resolution a little bit, which gives us buttery smooth FPS with barely any perception of lost quality there. I also got rid of these functions. Keep in mind it is kind of accelerated by the GPU, but not bad. Shouldn't this have internals? I feel like some stuff there is not being rendered properly. Yeah. Those are missing. And then the quality kind of generates the artifacts. Which I think is understandable. Oh yeah, I was doing some weird stuff in Blender. Maybe we wouldn't even have to worry about that today. We can do step as 1. And that's just gonna make it crazy, but there we have it. I can still kind of scroll it, and it looks good. I'm not sure about these lines, though. I'm not sure what's happening here. Don't think those should be there. But hey, le triangle s'est rasterisé. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Les triangles. Les triangles. Alright. Le triangle s'est rasterisé. And I'm a little reluctant to do any optimization right now because not really. But what can I do for optimization even? Y less equal than max y, max x. Oh. Oh. That's true. But that changed. Wait, hold on. That's with the low quality though. Okay. Alright. It works well, but I do have to lower the quality, and lowering the quality does lead to artifacts like these. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Can even have like super low quality, which gives us the idea of a windmill. It's the concept of a windmill. This looks like something an LLM could do for image generation. And it all started with 1 pixel. Don't. That looked a little weird. Beautiful, isn't it? Wait, is that, hold on, there's a name for that, right? essentially skipping some of the pixels for rendering dithering, is it called? I think that's what it is. No, that's adding noise. No, hold on. Who the fuck asked the clanker about this? Yeah, I think it's called dithering. When it comes to 3D rendering, for rendering, like, I don't know, some trees in the distance. Moire. Moire pattern. I guess, kind of. No. I think it is called dithering. But essentially, games will do what I just did. Skip some pixels. If I don't know, if I'm, it's like an open world game and there's like a tree in the distance, like super far away. So like the player sees it, but they don't need to see any detail. You lower the first off, you use a simpler model. That's already a thing. But also, even when it's so far that even the simplest model is too much, you can kind of skip rendering some pixels, and that kind of gives the illusion of transparency, semi-transparency, kind of, because you're not rendering some pixels pretty much. So that's kind of what I'm doing here, just skipping some pixels. I just so happen to turn it to a really ridiculous value. 2 I think works pretty well. The point that we can barely see any artifacts. And we get decent enough frame rate that we can go through the model. Aliasing of textures, yeah, kind of like that. I think... No, LOD is for models. What I'm talking about is a rendering technique. I've seen it, damn, a billion years ago, to the point that GTA 5 was the new kid on the block. There was someone analyzing rendering of that game and talking about this technique, and that's how I learned that it exists. Undersampling? Not sure what I'm looking for here in the Finder, but okay. I think it is called dithering. Or bandpass. Yeah. This is more for frequencies, to be fair, but yeah. Drizzle? No. This is for reconstructing. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's either called dithering or undersampling or yeah, that's it. Those are the 2 options, I believe, or something else. That's the other option, but that doesn't matter. What does matter? Nothing. Nothing really matters. No, okay. What does matter is we can now render inside le triangle. And as we're rendering inside le triangle, we want to choose what to render inside le triangle. We don't have that information. So if I'm not mistaken, that is handled by the fragment shader. That is handled by the fragment shader. It's just that, if I'm not mistaken, this is the next step that we want to do. Tiny issue. Haven't written a fragment shader in a billion, trillion, quadrillion years. Don't remember. Again, much like I did with the vertex shader, I got the simplest vertex shader to see what inputs and what outputs you usually give it. Even though we're not using GLSL, the graphics language shader language, graphics library shader language. OpenGL shading language. Yeah, my name was better, sorry. Graphics library shading language just makes a ton more sense, but whatever. We're not using this language yet. I do have a compiler, just saying. I have a compiler. Yeah, we're not using this language, but we still want it to be, you know, as close as possible. So eventually we can start using this high OpenGL shading language. I don't know why I was reading the name from here. Okay, so I need an example of a fragment shader. Wikipedia, do you have one? Not quite. Hmm? Damn. Is this a thing that's active? This is assembly for GPUs? Is it a standard that's well adopted? Say by the Raspberry Pi and maybe the VertIO GPU? Have supported for years. Well, what do you know? I didn't know this existed. I didn't know this was happening. So, great. ARB. So I'm writing ARB assembly and ARM assembly. And maybe WebAssembly. Once we do the HTML render. Which one person in the chat about 1 billion years ago expressed interest in. No, actually, in one of my previous polls, somebody actually wanted that. Like, I feel like at least 2 or 3 people wanted that. But yeah, nowadays, nobody yearns for that anymore. Yeah, 2 people wanted the HTML render compared to the 0 that we got today. 0.5, let's say. Because one person said, yeah, I want it, but seems like no one else does, so I'm not gonna vote for it. Late pipeline, backface. So we're gonna need to do like depth testing for that. We're gonna need to do the backface culling. We're gonna need to do normals, all of that stuff, which I'm not super interested in doing right now. I'm okay with my windmill looking like this for today's stream, let's say. Again, I'm more interested. I'll take a look at that after I'm done with the fragment shader. Maybe if it's simple-ish enough. Yeah, that what you're describing sounds simple, so I'll take a look at it. But before that, yeah, I want to look at a fragment shader example. I'm surprised that Wiki doesn't have one. Because I figured that Wikipedia would have some very simple examples, which is exactly what I want. If not, I'm going to have to go with PBR. Surely, if I Google fragment shader, I'm going to get examples of that. Right? Kronos Group. The Vulkan people. Oh, the OpenGL people too. Wait, they made both? Oh, this is specifically for OpenGL though. Oh. Receives the fragment coordinate, the front facing and point coordinate. It doesn't tell you the triangle? Alright, so these are built-ins. Again, we don't have backface culling, so we don't have the front-facing part. And wait, this is called after the depth testing as well, if I'm not mistaken. That way you don't waste a bunch of calculations on pixels that are not actually going to be drawn. Well, not on pixels that are not going to be drawn, but like on the parts that are going to be overwritten or that are going to be discarded entirely. But we can't afford that optimization at this point, so we're okay. Fragment coordinate, it's the window space. X, Y, and Z components are the window space position of the fragment. The Z value will be written to the depth buffer. Okay, so we don't have that just yet. But interesting. The W component is 1 over W clip, where W clip is the interpolated W component of the clip space vertex position output to the GL position. I see. Do I need that for anything this very second? Probably not. That was fragment coordinate, okay. Front facing, false for the back face, true in all other cases. And then within a point primitive that defines the position of a fragment relative to the side of the point. Points are effectively rasterized as window space squares of a certain pixel size. Since points are defined by a single vertex, the only way to tell where in that square a particular fragment is with GL point coordinate. The location within a point primitive that defines the position of the fragment relative to the side of the point. What's the point? Points are effectively rasterized as window-spaced squares in a certain pixel size. So the point's kind of like the step that I did? Is what I'm understanding from this? No, I'm a little confused as to what it means. Do they have some examples? This is why I wanted to see a fragment shader example. Probably Shader Toy has some, right? But those are going to be quite complex. And we're looking for the very basics here. Circle that is to be rendered on a screen of 8 to 8 pixels as shown in the image below. Split it into 16 equal parts. What color each pixel should be needs to be made. For pixels with just a single color, they adopt that color. If other pixels contain two colors, they contain both the circle and the background. This requires a decision to be made. Yeah, so you render them like this, which gives you, you know, a little closer to a ball. Oh, I didn't want you to show me the example. I wanted you to show me the code. GL frag color. Okay, starting to remember what they look like. A triangular color wheel. They get past the vertex position, vertex color, pulsing, not very helpful. Because it's not relative to the object, is the problem. It's not relative to the triangle that it is within. But okay, just to make a very, very simple fragment shader. What did I call the other one? Vert shader? Just want to make sure I use the same names. Vert shader, yeah. Okay, frag shader for X and Y. Well, as a vector 4. Because I will eventually use the other coordinates like depth buffer and all that stuff. But right now I don't. Anti-aliasing? Yeah, that sounds about right. From the description of it, it sounds like they were doing something similar to the points being like multiple pixels, and then it tells you where within that pixel you are. What I find interesting is that it doesn't tell you where within the mesh you are. That's kind of unexpected, I guess. You return a color, frag shader, taking in a vector tree. What do they call it? Or is this fragment coordinate, right? And I can return a color, which I can actually make it up with no a R. Um, G and B. And then you just return that. Oh, I'm doing module off a float. Primitive ID. That sounds familiar. Yeah. I hate that floor in libc, the incredible library that it is, returns a double. You pass in a float and you could get back a double when what you're doing is flooring it. Man. Wait, I still kept these as floats. That's kind of a mistake. Comma missing here. Wait, it's not color, it's ARGB color. What I'm trying to return. And ARGB color uses alpha. It uses the full name, government name of them. So it's alpha, red, green, and blue. Not greed, green and blue. Okay, and then when we call that, we gotta use the color value here. And yeah, it's a very basic fragment shader going on. And it doesn't follow the object in the slightest because it doesn't have that kind of concept of it. I'm not sure when we're going to be able to give it that kind of concept of an object, but it's not bad. We can even use, once again, take advantage of this a little bit. And multiply here. That was wrong. It is rendering, by the way. You can see the FPS go down. That's the only way that we know that this is rendering. Wait, what values does this take? An 8-bit integer, yeah, that should be fine. But it's probably... Yeah, no, what I'm doing wrong is that this parenthesis should happen at the end. Maybe without splitting the number in half. Okay. And there we have it. A little texture thingy going on. Cool. Okay. I do wonder what optimizations I can do on this. So I can continue developing it and making it a little bit more complex, perhaps. But it's not a thing that I want to research on stream necessarily. It's not super interesting. Just really quickly, what I do want to look at is this backface culling, because one thing that's happening right now, we cannot really tell Yeah, you know what? Hold on. Let's pass a triangle ID. So I can at least see the problem happening. Triangle ID, which just so happens to be the segment index, so that's really convenient for me. There should also be a mesh ID, but we don't have that right now. That's fine. Since everything is happening in the CPU, I'm not sharing memory, so there's a bunch of stuff I'm not bothering with. What do I do? What math do I do for this? Just using the triangle ID. It's probably going to render them all quite dark. Well, no. Okay, it wasn't as dark as I expected it to be. But it is all monochrome. That's okay. Hell, let's mess around with it a little bit. Alright, it's a little pop art windmill now. Oop. Yeah, parentheses could be useful there also. Not gonna lie. Oops. We don't have rotation, so maybe even now it's not super noticeable. But, okay, yeah, for example, here you can see the red and the yellow. It is rendering them properly because it just so happens that the yellow is rendered before the red, so the red overrides the yellow. But that won't always be the case. And here, for example, this yellow triangle here, I'm pretty sure shouldn't be on top. So that's kind of what we want to try to fix. Signed triangle area. Not Z buffer. Oh no, wait, hold on. Yes, I'm talking about Z buffer. I should be talking about back face culling, which is essentially we're rendering. Yeah, what I said doesn't make any sense. Hold on. The problem is we're rendering a face on both sides, which usually that makes sense, but for 3D rendering, it is a waste. Usually, meshes are only drawn, like they're fully self-contained, so you cannot see. I don't know. Let's say that this is a mesh, right? No matter how much I rotate it, you can never see inside of it, so you should not render the inside of it, essentially. And that also means don't render the back of the inside part of it. In addition to the fact that if one is completely overwritten, you kind of skip that part, yeah. Okay. So what are they doing here to fix that? Bounding box. Okay, total area. Okay. Signed triangle area. By I, Bex, X, C, B, CX, BX, AX, AY, CY, AX, CX. Okay. So here it's kind of... Wait, what coordinates is it taking in even? Sine triangle area of pixel, then BC, CA, AB. Okay, it's a little bit hard to read like that, but okay. And then what it's doing with them is dot product of all three of them, pretty much. Mm-hmm. I see. Wait, you could also do the one before the loops. You already have the insight check? Yeah, but isn't the insight check also doing the same thing? So... I thought I recognized someone's picture there. Isn't this the second code, or... No, this is it, okay. Oh! Oh no, what they were doing before is the same thing that I did, okay. That makes sense. It's just the same formula being used for both. Alright, well, I like their formula more. Yeah, it's the Raspberry Pi, but not the rendering stuff just yet. Definitely not. It can barely run on Raylib. Alright, so the sine triangle area between three vertices instead of the point inside. Which we're already using that, right? Just switch this to B. And then turn it into 0.5f times ax times bx. I gotta copy the formula. Here. by minus ay bx minus ax cx boop. All right, but that changes how I do this math to v1, v2, v0, point. Although, wait, does the order of them matter? Not really. Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, I do lose the pre-calculation, I understand that. Though, I don't have to do that pre-calculation anymore. But also, the point that they're using here is A. Yeah, because you're kind of mixing them all together, so I kind of get it. I think you don't want to. It is Linux on Intel. Oh, shh. um... if any of them is less than 0, it's the wrong value. Forgot to do that part. Oh, also I'm returning, yeah, they're floats now. They float now. Oh, these are rendering now, whereas they weren't before. And it feels a little bit smoother, but okay. This is the depth thing that I said. The blade is in front of the door. But also, yeah, the backface culling is gonna be done in a very similar way with the total area. Here. No. Here. If the total area is less than... Also, why did I call my function signed triangle? That means nothing. I should have called it triangle area. We know it's signed. That's fine. And then I just need to pass v0, v1, v2. Terminal honestly doesn't have that many commands. Can barely tell if anything happened here, especially without rotation. It's not super simple to know. Maybe we can look at Zuzi. Oh, I didn't do it, did I? Yeah, definitely that didn't work. Okay, yeah, I can kind of see the difference a little bit. But honestly, it's not that much. We need depth testing. That's probably going to be pretty important too. For next time though. Okay, pretty sure I'm gonna be able to just standardize the quad and triangle rendering, because I think I am gonna use the quad rendering eventually. It can be quite useful, honestly. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna use it. Okay. Either way, that's probably gonna be it for today. Wait. No, never mind. This does not do what I thought it did. I already did clamp these values. I forgot about that. Okay. All right. Well, that is probably going to be it for today. I'm going to see about optimization, even though now it's doing a lot better, I have to say. I have to try it on step 1. It's 3 FPS. But hey, look at that quality. It's divine quality on the freaking... Nice. Yeah, it's not amazing. I do wonder what optimization techniques can be used for this. I do already have, you know, quite a lot of FPS gain when I just half the number of pixels that I draw. And the artifacts are barely noticeable. Like, well, yeah, no, okay, you can see the jagged edges here, they're pretty noticeable. You can see some missing parts here. But honestly, it's like the least of the problems that I have right now. I'm just gonna research a little bit of the optimization for it. Wait, I am reducing the number of pixels, yeah, by a quarter. So it is quite significant, quite a significant improvement. And again, this is an actual rendering technique. Hell, we can do pixel art. Do we have a pixel art shader, everybody? That's what I'm doing. It's a pixel art shader. You you just didn't see the vision. You just didn't know. But yeah, it's a pixel art shader. All right, which color will win? It's white. All right. Shit, that is a pretty like that really looks like a pixel art shader. I mean, if I use the right number, I might just get it. I'm trying to end the stream, but this got interesting. Yeah, I kind of just made a pixel art shader so quick. Incredible. That's what it is. It's not that my shader is slow as fuck. It's a pixel art shader. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. Well, anti-aliasing? Nah. Pixel art. Pixel art. That's what it is. Modern pixel art. Yeah, fair, fair, fair. All right. With that little pixel art shader, we're going to end the stream. I'm gonna bring it back to 2, but I like the idea of making it pixel art shader like that. Where'd you go? Okay. Still, we got all this done. I thought it was gonna be more complicated. It was actually quite simple, I have to say. I'll look a little bit into optimization, see if I can bring this down to 1, because that's the correct, value. I can also just reduce. Yeah, another thing that I can do before I end the stream. Hold on. Full quality, just a smaller window. Like half of that even. Oops, that's not half of that. That's over 10 times. Alright, so we can get a pretty decent frame rate and pretty decent quality if we have the window, which is essentially the same, mathematically the same number of pixels. But it isn't. Oh, whoops. It isn't amazing, but we can work with it. Anyway, I'll see what I can do for optimization, but I'm not sure. Okay, I got the rasterization done. TTS is what? Broken? Seriously? Well, that sucks. I might have to look into that. Oh, wait, it is broken. Yeah, I had to reset my entire, OBS thing, and I don't have the source. I forgot to put that in. Yeah, so let me put a reminder real quick for that. I'll answer about using the system in a second. All right, so tomorrow's stream, technically I did the rasterization, so maybe I'll move on to the next thing and do a little bit of operating system development tomorrow. It's not gonna be that much, so maybe it's gonna be like operating system and then rasterization. Get out of here. That's a good one. It's a good one. Yeah, I think maybe tomorrow I'm gonna do operating system and compiler, and then depth buffer is gonna come back into the queue of things to do once I have a need for it. Where's my... Oh, did I delete it? Well, I do have a document for it. I don't know where it is. Stropple, where are you? This one. No, this is not the right one. Okay. Rasterizing. Next up is the depth buffer, but I do want to work on the virtual file system stuff, and honestly, I feel like that's going to be pretty quick, because all I need to do is just keep track of the modules that you create, and allow you to, well, expose them to userland applications, create a new syscall for that, and keep track of them so I can delete the modules that you create when you delete your project, pretty much. But I want to let processes in my system expand the file system dynamically. What I haven't decided yet is how to sandbox the file system, which is a thing that I've been planning on doing, but I'm not currently thinking of just yet. So maybe I'll consider how to do that a little bit, but I probably won't implement it, just think about it a bit. And then I want to do like some type checking, semantic analysis type of thing. There is one, again, I don't know the difference of a pointer and a non-pointer in my language right now, which is severely limiting the code that I can write. So I'll need to, I'll probably get to that tomorrow. And another thing that I was thinking of is being able to like export and import symbols. Just as a little hack, essentially, because most of my symbols for my my library that my programming language uses is in C. The programming language doesn't understand C. It generates C code, but it doesn't understand C. So maybe I can just like have a way to communicate which symbols are available through C even without compiling C. And then also which symbols are available from cred without having to compile it, essentially. So maybe do something like that. It's essentially a compiler-specific way of doing a header file, kind of. But just simpler, I guess. So I'll get to that tomorrow for the compiler. Most likely I'll be able to do both things. But if not, tomorrow operating system and Sunday compiler. Rust. It was a joke to do an entire stream for Rust, but I will be checking out Rust tomorrow. So somebody who's here today, please remind me to check out Rust tomorrow, because I will forget. I will set a reminder also. But I have a little thing on my phone that reminds me of something 12 hours from now. And 12 hours from now is 10 a.m. The stream is at 3 p.m. So I might forget again by then. But oh well. Alright, so if it's one topic per stream, this was today, Saturday, Sunday, we might even get to HTML by Monday. And this thing I'm gonna work on off stream. I got the message, which I've sent myself off. I probably am gonna do this off stream because nobody cares. That was a kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy there. Alright, to answer a question from a million years ago, sorry, I'm just getting to it now. The operating system has everything that you need to run it. You just need the GNU toolchain for ARM to cross-compile and make. But the library that I use, the shared library, is a submodule, so you need to download submodules as well. I kind of hate the way that submodules work in Git. It seems like they could be a little more seamless. But it makes sense to use a submodule for that library because I use it in a bunch of other projects, and those projects had to link to the operating system, which doesn't make sense. Even the compiler, which doesn't run on the OS, or the renderer, which runs cross-platform right now, didn't make any sense. Although the renderer is for the operating system, so we'll have to bring it in. But we're not there yet. We need some semblance of performance first, then some semblance of optimization, then I can bring it into the OS. Alright, so as I mentioned during the YAP session that has been the last like 5 minutes, the next stream is tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central European time and 2 p.m. UK time. We're going to be doing some operating system development. We're going to be working with the file system a little bit. We're going to be expanding the file system quite a bit, because we're going to be allowing userland applications to expand that file system. And maybe even consider how to sandbox the file system, I think. I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I might as well give that a thought. And then might get to doing some type checking for, reference versus value pointers and the symbols from the library type of thing that I mentioned before. If I have time for that. If not, that's going to be on Sunday. Do I think that GitHub is overly complicated? I'm going to drop a link to my Discord in the meantime. GitHub is just a client for Git, but I do think Git is overly complicated, so yes. All right. With that, I am going to end the stream. And I'll see you tomorrow.